surprise, live action segment. And this one's a bit of a special occasion, mainly because this is the only Mario Kart game you'll see in this whole retrospective where I actually have the game. Like, on DS, for example, I do own the game, but I don't have it with me physically since I moved from my hometown. Like I mentioned in the video, my niece has that. This one I do have it. It's not my original copy, it's not like the first copy I bought. This is a 2018 copy I bought from someone. And it does have a lot of sentimental value, not only the game, but this copy as a whole. This is the first copy I bought with my own money. Well, the first thing, sorry, the first copy. The first thing I bought with my own money is what I meant. And I remember I was with someone, like, hanging out at home, and we were talking, like, they saw my Wii, which, is still here. This is my 2009 Wii. I remember because we bought Mario Power Tennis with it. Time has not been the nicest thing to it. I will admit, I will admit I have not been very... I have not been the nicest owner to it, I will admit, ever since I got Dolphin. This sadly has lost a lot of its staying power. It lost its audio like 10 years ago too, so there's also that, but whatever. Back to the copy. It has a lot of value to me because we were hanging out here and they're like, oh, you have a Wii, oh, you don't have Mario Kart Wii, oh, that sucks. And then the bell rings and it's the delivery guy with the Mario Kart Wii copy. So we played Mario Kart Wii for like 3 hours. It was really fun. And this copy in particular has a lot of value to it, but Mario Kart Wii on its own has a lot of value to me. Because it's the Mario Kart Wii I played the most with people. It's the one I played the most in general, but with people especially. And as I mentioned in the previous videos, Mario Kart is very much a different beast when you're playing with people. It's the whole point. But outside of that, the game's very, very interesting because it has so many different ways of playing it. Both literally and inside the game, if that makes any sense. Like, I think that means I have to get into it. Now, imagine the Wii you just saw, but hundreds of millions of times. You might remember the Wii sold 100 million plus copies. You might be thinking, okay, why? The casual appeal of that console, man. I know some people now call it retro because it did come out in like 2006. I don't call it, I don't ever plan on calling it retro, I'm sorry. But yeah, the Wii's codename was Casual Corner for babies, so naturally, lots of those Casual Corner for babies consoles will have a lot of Mario Kart Wii copies. Mario Kart Wii before Mario Kart 8 on Switch used to be the highest selling Mario Kart game. It was something around like 30 million copies if I'm not mistaken. So obviously, lots of people played this game, and lots of people got to saw what you will see today here. So, you know, it's kind of a big deal, this game. You might be thinking, Fran, why of all the Mario Kart games you talked about, and you will talk about, why is Wii the one you just happen to have a copy? Because everyone has a copy of Wii! May I remind you, I should have 2 copies of Wii technically. But yeah, the Nintendo Wii sold like crazy, and so did Mario Kart Wii for the console. So, with that mindset, let's look at what we have in Mario Kart Wii itself. Now, how does Mario Kart Wii exactly appeal to the masses, let's say? You have this very chaotic game. How does this version of Mario Kart appeal far more than previous versions of Mario Kart, even when previous versions already were casual friendly? They were already made for people that were not into like hardcore racers, you know? Like the people not into F-Zero. Mario Kart's for you. Well, simple concept. The Wiimote. Obviously it was advertised, as you might remember, with We Would Like to Play.
We would like to play.
If you swing, you will swing a tennis racket, a bat. If you swing your Wiimote, you'll throw a punch in Wii Sports. If you swing, you'll get a golf club. A lot of swinging, I'm well aware, but that's not all. You can also drive. That was the main casual appeal. Grab the Wiimote and you don't have to turn left and right, you just steer like you would steer in real life. The Wiimote motion controls. Not to mention this little trinket of plastic, the Wii wheel. This was the first plastic thing, the first add-on if you want to call it that, because it doesn't actually do anything, so I don't know if it's an add-on, but the first Wii toy, I guess. So when you're grabbing a wheel and you're steering around yelling at your friends, you feel like you're driving, because you obviously drive and yell at your friends. It's so useless, but it looks cool, I will admit. I fell for this as a kid. It was like, oh my god, I'm actually driving! To this day I don't know how to drive. I'm very ashamed of myself on that one, but I could drive in Mario Kart Wii with a Wiimote and with a Wii wheel, let me tell you that much. It's really funny because eventually some Wii copies started to be like, oh, this is compatible with a Wii wheel. Bitch, it's a hunk of plastic, it doesn't do shit, it's not like the nunchuck. Okay, so getting into the actual game. Again, I have loads of time into this game, both in my actual Wii, as in Dolphin, as in time with my friends, and see time on my own, unlocking everything, playing just for fun, playing because I have some time. I'll say it right out the gate. I love this game, and this is probably my favorite Mario Kart game. Now you might be thinking, Fran, why is there so much video left? Because this game is far from perfect, dude. Again, I could recommend any Mario Kart, but holy shit, does this game have some funny things, both in a good and a bad way. So let's talk about it. As per usual, let's start with small quality of life improvements, if you want to call it that. This is the first Mario Kart to include several save files. You have 4 to start with. So if you ever get bored and you want to unlock everything again, you can do that. Don't do that, but you can do that if you're a masochist. It's like unlocking everything again in Brawl. Don't do that. The Wii was known for really tough 100% completion, huh? But the way this is contextualized in the game is actually very cute. This is your driver's license. This is the first and only driver's license I own. It's very adorable. You also get to pick your Mii or any Miis you have in your save file, your Wii file / Dolphin file. It's really cute, and I really like this concept. The whole game goes for this aesthetic of like professional racing. This is something you see more in 7 and 8 as well. Like 7's UI is like a garage, and 8 is like a TV set for racing. And here you see with the box art and the menus too, it's like very professional. We went... Not that we skipped the wacky Mario setting, but we absolutely stepped more into a more formal, professional racing logo and layout. DS kind of had that with its own logo, but here it's more focused, more centralized, you know? The UI, as soon as you get your driver's license, the menu is very clear. You're divided basically into one player and multiplayer, and below you have the options of internet, which sadly, you know, 15 years later, the Wii doesn't have online anymore. Through Nintendo, that is, because you probably know this already, but Reconnect 24 is a thing, and not only does it resurrect the Mario Kart Wii online functionality, but it also brings mission mode, which, funnily enough, people always are like, oh, bring mission mode from Mario Kart DS back. They did on Wii. The problem is they did it through this online mode, so once the online goes down, which I assume no one thought at the time it will ever happen, mission mode sadly is gone. But if you know how to finagle and get Reconnect 24 working, I call it Reconnect 24 because that was the first name. I don't know if that's the name that people still use. I'm sorry if it got discontinued or the project changed names or something. I really apologize for that. But as far as I know, last thing I knew, it was still Reconnect 24. So if you ever want to play with your actual Wii, like I'm not even talking about Dolphin, with your actual Wii, you can mod it to get Reconnect 24. And revived both mission mode and Wii functionality there, and you can even use custom tracks, which we will talk about later. The modding scene in this game is whack. But this is very cool to see. Sadly, obviously, the Wii, there's no point in keeping the online alive, some might say, but I'm happy that fans keep the online experiences for these older consoles alive again. It's really cool, and you see it mostly with Nintendo, because, for example, the PS3 online still works, even if it was during the Wii era. So it's cool to see that the Nintendo fans keep this alive. It's very nice to see. Something like Pretendo too for the Wii U and 3DS. Maybe we'll talk about that with Mario Kart 7 or 8. Sorry, small tangent, I know, but it's pretty cool to see the online staying alive in some form. I never got to experience online, so maybe with this I'll eventually get the chance. I did not for this video, sadly, I could not get it working. But if you do get it working, please let me know. Obviously, let's get into single player. This is me we're talking about. Again, I got no friends or loved ones. Even though I didn't mention them in the beginning, but we don't talk about that. So, single player, this is more or less your typical Mario Kart fare. Excluding the S, because the S did have the mission mode offline, but this is pretty much going typical to other Mario Karts. You got Grand Prix, obviously, and hold on, 50, 100, 150cc, okay, but so this is the first Mario Kart game. I'll show you two things, but this is the first Mario Kart game to, one, and more importantly, showcase the actual difference visually to the player. What the difference between 50, 100 and 150cc. Before Mario Kart Wii, you just had to know, or you know, you took a chance, or you played them, like you played a cup each, and then you're like, oh shit, this is far faster than 50 and 100. Now you actually see the character models going at different speeds. I think that's very cool. Obviously, it's not really difficult to tell the difference between each speed, but not gonna lie, as a kid I couldn't tell unless I played each speed. But seeing this in Mario Kart Wii, it was actually very helpful. I was like, okay, this seems a bit boring, this seems too intimidating, let me check 100, for example. It's a very nice detail. Most of this game will be 150cc, mostly the single player stuff will be 150cc because I'm a badass, I'm super cool. I'm a badass, okay? I get first in Mario Kart Wii, I'm super cool. But the second difference is 50 and 100 especially. 50 is only cars, and we'll talk about the cars and bikes, and 100 is bikes alone. So, what's the point of this, you might be wondering? Well, the idea is basically to get you accustomed to the mechanics of each one. Because eventually you do get to unlock a little switch button that allows for cars and bikes in both speeds. 150 already includes them because it's like, okay, you went from 50, which is cars, which is what you already know from the previous Mario Karts, obviously. Now you get into 100, you'll see the difference between the bikes and karts, you'll see the different movement, the different options, and now that you learned both, here they are together, now you'll see how they collide together in a race. I think that's a very good progression system. Obviously you're not forced to follow it, unless you want to unlock everything, then you are. Because 50, 100 and 150cc unlock different things, like per usual. But I think following this system, which is what I assume Nintendo wants you to do, is pretty cool. Some nowadays might see it as limiting, and I sort of agree, but I get the point. I get the idea of, okay, this is what you know, this is what you already know. Now you get into the bikes, the new mechanic, and then we throw both of them at different speeds too. So not only are you getting accustomed to the speed and controls, you're getting accustomed to the new things happening. Again, this was all crafted with a very casual, welcoming mindset. Now more than ever is it clear that 50 is easy mode, 100cc is normal mode, and 150cc is badass mode, which is what I am, duh. So, again, very casual, very clear mindset. Before it was like, okay, you probably get it, you're smart. But now, as a kid can understand it visually, there's a visual indicator that it's like, hey, this is slower, this is faster, by the way, cars are easier, blah 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 blah. It's pretty cool. Okay, now for real, I promise we'll get more We're getting closer to the races, I promise. I'm sorry this takes so long, but there's chapters in the video for a reason. Now we get into the character roster. Thank God I have this 100% file. Holy shit, look at this puny roster when you don't have the 100% file. Now look, the initial roster is so long. I feel so nostalgic right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Look at this beast of a roster. And not only is it huge on numbers, it's huge on variety too. So let's talk about the newcomers first. Rosalina, obviously, Mario Kart Wii, Nintendo Wii, Mario Galaxy, obviously, kind of like Piri Piranha in Double Dash and Sunshine, you know, same thing. It's a very good pick. This is clearly where you start seeing Rosalina more in these sort of spin-offs. Nowadays, for example, she gets into the sports games, which I absolutely love. If you watched the Galaxy critique, watch it. But if you didn't, Rosalina is my favorite Mario character. So, Mario exclusively, like I'm not counting DK and such in there. Which, speaking of DK, you got the beautiful masterclass of a character that is Funky Kong. You know the funny thing? Not only does he yell like a madman every time he gets like a boost or a trick or something with a or anything like that. Honestly, I remember one time I was playing with friends, I was Funky, and they were like, okay, please stop boosting, because he was like all the time. It was really funny. But you know the funny thing is, he's actually the best character in the game, stats-wise. So, you have different builds, which we will talk about later. Each card has its own stats, as Double Dash and DS established. And each character has its own stats, as in Super Mario Kart this was established. So, when you mix both, you get, eventually, the best build. The best build here is Funky Kong with the Flame Runner, the Bowser bike, basically. I love that Funky Kong is the best character in the game. I love that Funky Kong is the best. Like, look at him. Why is he the best? I don't know, but I love that. I love that. I love that so much. He's also a creative add-on too. Like, yeah, you could have K. Rool maybe. That's nice, but probably Funky is easier to do since DK is there. But I like that they added another DK character, which nowadays, both in Mario Kart and the DK franchise itself. But anyway, good to see him here, and obviously not so impactful, but still, Baby Peach and Baby Daisy. I don't like this concept. I get Baby Peach was a thing, like not Paper Mario, sorry, Mario and Luigi partners in time. I get that. Baby Daisy was not. They probably said, okay, Baby Peach exists, Baby Daisy probably exists, which extended to Mario Kart 8 being like, oh, Baby Rosalina probably exists out there, right? She doesn't, by the way. She absolutely just doesn't, but whatever. Yeah, so I don't like this. This is where the baby epidemic started to show its ugly face. But whatever, we'll take it. More characters, that's fine. And then Dry Bowser too, because, you know, Dry Bones needs a commanding officer, that's fine. We take those, that's okay. So, 24 characters, that's quite the number. It's the number of Double Dash, I am well aware, but this time each character drives on its own. So it's not like, oh, we need a large amount of characters to fill 2 characters per car. No, this time everyone can race on its own, but still 12 racers only, so half the roster will not be present during real races, which I sort of get. You don't want to make it too complicated, that's fine, I think. And we're still sticking to the categories, the heavies, lightweights and mediums, but this time, again, going back to the casual appeal, they're very well segmented. You might notice all the baby characters and Toad and small characters are on the top. Then, as you go down, you get to Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy and whatever. And then you get to the big boys, the thick boys, Bowser, DK, Wario and so on. It's actually kind of funny that Rosalina is a heavyweight when she floats. But I guess they went, oh, she must be heavy because she's tall as fuck, look at her. But again, appealing to the casual understanding of Mario Kart. Now, this is when Mario Kart stuff that was implied before, you had to research in some form. Now it's clear as water. This is the speeds for each cup. This is the weight for each character. It's all very clear now. Which, personally, playing this as a kid, I really appreciated that. It was very helpful. So, in Double Dash it was sort of clear when, with each car, for example, Baby Mario and Bowser, you can't pick a baby car with Bowser there, okay? But now it's clear as water. Now you can see it. It's right there in the roster. Oh wait, hold on. Did I say 24? My bad, I meant 26! Because this is one of the finest additions to Mario Kart. You're me! And I say 26 because in the Mii slot there are 2 Miis. So, you get 2 Miis. And that's cute, I like that, that's very cute. It's a little thingy. The Wii obviously pushing for the Miis, of course. It spawned the whole concept, so... Nice seeing them be playable, I think this is very clever. And honestly, this is what I thought Brawl would do. We'll have fighter Miis. We had to wait for Smash 4 in 2014 for that, but... Yeah, that makes sense. Have Miis be playable more, I like it. I like seeing my face on a Mario body, you know? So getting more into these weight classes, let's pick someone like Funky, for example, because of course we will. His class, the heavyweight class, will have a certain type of cars and vehicles, both cars and bikes. 6 cars, 6 bikes. Some you'll see need to be unlocked, of course. But each vehicle you see with each of these 8 characters are unique to their weight class, kind of like what Double Dash had. But this is contained into the character class itself, not necessarily the character and your partner. You know how in Double Dash, again, Baby Mario Bowser, you got limited. Now here you can pick from Baby Mario to Baby Daisy or Funky Kong to King Boo, and you're good to go. You're good, you can pick any of these 12 vehicles. Now, let's get into the vehicles themselves, right? Because as I mentioned before, cars are considered like the easy get into the game sort of thing, and the bikes are the new vehicle type, never seen before. So what's the difference with this? Let's talk about the pros and cons with each one. Let's start with the cars. So the cars, you can get orange boosts like in Double Dash, so you can get more boosts than the bikes when you're drifting. That's cool. That's nice. Give me a second. Another pro, we're sticking to the pros. Cars are heavier, which can be helpful in many scenarios because a lot of tracks in this game have bottomless pits, you know, you can fall off. So cars are actually more helpful against the bikes because the bikes are obviously lighter like in real life. So you can crash into a bike, push them off. That's good to go. Another pro is cars usually look cooler. Look at this beast of a car Donkey Kong is in right now. That car looks mwah, masterclass of a vehicle. Now, let's get into the bike pros. Bikes turn faster and turn smoother than cars. It's easier for them to turn, given there is a little thing called inside and outside drifting, which I'll talk about a little bit, give me a few minutes. Bikes can wheelie too, you know how in GTA or in real life, if you're a daredevil, you can wheelie, you know, ride on one wheel, you can do that. While you're doing that with a bike, you'll get a boost. It's not as huge of a boost as a mushroom or a drift, but it's still a boost. It's still faster. If you're in a straight line against a car, you can be faster than them by just wheeling, as long as they don't crash into it. It's easier to do than a boost. Anyone can do this, any bike can do this, regardless of your control scheme, which I'll, again, give me a minute. So, those are the differences between the cars and the bikes. So, I mentioned cons, right? What are the cons of the bike outside of weight? Yeah. Yeah. So, you know how I mentioned the car's pros was a better drift boost? That doesn't really matter when the bike can wheelie at any time. Like, sure, you can drift and get a better boost, but the bike not only can catch up with a drift of its own and then wheelie, but overall bikes are faster than cars. So not every time. Some cars are faster than bikes, obviously, but anytime you're as a bike player, you're against a car player, and you're like, oh, shucks, we're so close, I need to catch up in some form. Just wheelie, dude. Just wheelie, then drift. They'll try drifting. And, oh, 10 out of 10 chances, I promise you, 10 out of 10 chances, you're winning. Because you get more options. So, I'm not saying cars are completely worthless. But bikes might be a bit too better than cars, you know? Probably this is why future bikes don't have the wheelie. Or the drift difference, as far as I remember, but... yeah, bikes are kinda the go-to. That's why the toppest pick is the Flame Runner, as I mentioned with Funky Kong. Another reason why this drift difference, this drift advantage for the cars doesn't matter sometimes, is due to the control scheme you can have. And I don't mean the Wii mode with GameCube controller, Pro controller, classic Wii mode, whatever, nunchuck. There's a lot of options to control this game, goddamn. And I played this game both Wii mode and GameCube controller, so we'll talk about that later. But for now, you can pick automatic or manual drift. So this is probably the biggest casual add-on mechanic thingy they added for Mario Kart. Like, if Mario Kart was supposed to be casual racing, this choice makes it way more casual friendly than any other thing Mario Kart has ever done or will ever do. I promise automatic mode is more casual friendly than automatic steer mode whatever in Mario Kart 8. Because at least here you play the game, but whatever. So, the difference. Manual drifting, as you might have already implied, is basically what you have been doing for the past 5 games. You press your shoulder button, or your B button if you're on a Wii mode, and you drift. You know, hold left and right, and you drift on your own. Drifting here has the difference of inside drifting and outside drifting. What I mean here is, you know how in Double Dash, whenever you drift, you don't do the hop? Well, here you do the hop anyway, but some hops go wider, you know. If you hop and you start doing left and right, you'll see like a wider turn. That's outside drifting, but if you start turning instantly, you don't do like a wide turn, you start drifting on place basically, kind of like Double Dash. That's inside drifting. I think all cars are outside drifting, if I'm not mistaken, and some bikes are inside drifting, some are outside. Something like the Frame Runner, again, is inside, while the Warrior bike is outside drifting. I know I'm making it sound very complicated, I know, but it's not really that difficult to understand. Once you see it, you get it, but the main difference here is how does your drifting handle. Both handle very well, but inside drifting is the superior one. It's far easier to control and understand your drift compared to the wide. The wide might get you off track sometimes if you don't know exactly how to handle it. Meanwhile, the inside is more trustworthy in my opinion. On my own experience, I recommend inside, which, sure, you pick the car that you like or the bike that you like, right? But if you're like in a competitive mindset, pick inside drifting. I think that's a better choice. What about automatic though? What do you do with automatic? So automatic does the drifting for you. So instead of having to hold the triggers and jump and drift and do left and right, you just turn. Here you just turn and you do the harsh turn, kind of like Super Mario Kart, but far better in control. And far more useful too, far more reliable, obviously, because it's your only way of turning into from harsh corners, or turning in general. In manual you can turn like usual, or you can drift, and you get a boost. In automatic you don't get a boost, you sacrifice your speed, but you get better and more comfortable turning. If you're a new player, I definitely recommend automatic. If you're a scrub, that is. No, I'm kidding. It's actually a very useful option. And you might be thinking, oh, but Fran, I lose the speed advantage. I promise it controls way too good. It's very good, so whenever you feel that... It's like in a bike, you know how you learn to ride a bike? You have the training wheels. Automatic mode is your training wheels. So when you feel comfortable to ditch them, you pick manual. But automatic, you don't worry. It's not like, oh, I'll lose because I'm slower. No. Don't worry about it. This is still Mario Kart, so you know, you still got the tracks and the items and whatever. So don't worry. If this were like a purely itemless racing game, maybe. But your car pick, your character pick, your items, your tracks, your playstyle overall, it all adds up to this being fairly balanced, actually. Automatic and manual they're fairly balanced. Very good balance between them. Now let's get into the beautiful tracks. As DS basically spawned for the franchise outside of Mario Kart 8, and yeah, I guess Super Circuit doesn't count, but whatever. We got 4 original cups and 4 retro tracks. 4 retro cups, sorry, with 4 tracks each cup. So again, we basically have 32 tracks. So the way the game starts from a raw file is you get 2 cups, original 2 cups and 2 retro tracks like DS did. So you might be thinking, oh, okay, that's fine. And the tracks here are actually very interesting because they're not your typical tracks you've seen so far. Again, I recommended the tracks obviously from the previous games. But this time you get a bit more of how should I call this? More of extreme layout, if you want to call it that. You know, extreme sports, extreme bikes, BMX sort of deal. Because here you have a lot of half pipes and trick jumps and ramps and whatever. And you might be thinking, what's the point of all of this? Outside of like breaking from the conventional track design. This game still has conventional track design, something like Luigi's Circuit obviously, in the first cup. But as soon as you do the Luigi's Circuit and Moo Moo Meadows, you start to see the wacky thing I'm talking about. So, why is this a thing? Well, whenever you go through a ramp or a slightly inclined terrain or a pipe or anything like that, you can do a trick, a taunt. If you press up on the D-pad or shake the Wiimote, you'll do a little silly trick, a little stunt thingy your character does. The purpose of this stunt is basically further air movement, like you reach further, and when you land you get a slight boost, kind of like a drifting boost. This is also why automatic and manual I don't find any huge disadvantage, because you'll still have the stunt boost, so you'll get some form of little speed outside of mushrooms for automatic mode. So that's why I feel like it's very balanced, and once you, again, you want to remove your train wheels, go into manual. It has a lot of replayability on that end. But you might be thinking, oh, Fran, I can just do stunts whenever. If I get boost, I'll get rewarded anyway. Here's the thing. It has some risks, depending on the situation. I assume I'm not the only one. But Mushroom Gorge sometimes, to bring the clearest example I can think of, because half this track is just bouncing platforms. Sometimes when you do the trick, it can fuck you up. It can throw you off stage, or if you don't do the trick, it can fuck you up because you didn't reach further enough. So there is risk to both doing and not doing it. Not only this, but it also adds a lot of charm and energy to these races. Not to say Mario Kart lacked energy, because obviously the items exist, but this adds a lot more of a woohoo, look at what I'm doing sort of feel, you know? It feels very energetic, very hype, very extreme. And to this, to represent this feeling, I don't think there's a better track than DK Summit. DK Summit is literally a ski course built for extreme sports. You have so many ramps, so many half pipes, so many terrains that let you boost. And this is where you feel the most holy shit, woohoo sort of feeling, you know what I mean? It's pretty fun, but again, it has some risks, so don't go boosting around anywhere, because you can bonk into a wall or you can just fall off the track. The tracks, while being more extreme with this half-pipe stuff, they also have a lot of bottomless pits, so do be careful. Sadly, like, I'm not going to say this is a running theme in the game or anything, because, trust me, it's not. This game has a lot of varied designs for tracks, in environmental-wise. Level design-wise, is everything so diverse. Holy shit, these tracks are so good. But environment-wise, while it has really good highs, it has some really confusing and odd lows. Like, I mentioned Luigi's Circuit as your beginner track. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. But it looks so similar to Mario Circuit. And I don't mean retro Mario Circuit. I mean original Wii Mario Circuit. It looks so similar. The difference is Mario Circuit has, you know, Peach's Castle, it's closer and such. But other than that, they look fairly similar, environmental-wise. You obviously have the chain jumping one and such, but I don't know, they're not as different as you would like them to be. They're different, obviously, but I don't know, I feel like Mario Circuit could have been a bit more extreme like DK Summit. Not DK Summit specifically, it doesn't have to replicate it, but you could have added that element there. Maybe a half-pipe somewhere, maybe that would have been useful. Or Luigi's Circuit could have a half-pipe. That's in a stadium. I know saying this out loud, you may be thinking, Fran, you just said one is in a castle, near the castle, the other one's a stadium. Yes, but when you look at it, it's like, oh, it's just another road. You know, it's just, oh, trees, and green, and grass. And they're different again, but I wish they were more different. And it doesn't really help that the retro tracks from the GameCube, they bring a Mario Circuit back, for example, and again, change more grass and such. And again, they're not the same, but you're like, come on, maybe a little bit of difference will help here. And again, the game, overall, it's very diverse, but there are some tracks that you're like, come on, man, I'm seeing this again, really? Come on. Like, let's compare it to Mario Kart DS, right? The previous game we talked about in this retrospective. Mario Kart DS had Waluigi's Pinball, Airship Fortress, Delfino Plaza. It had a lot of fan service and interesting new cool environments for the series, environments never seen before. This game, well, again, having incredible track environments and obviously designs. You have stuff like Coconut Mall, the beautiful, amazing Coconut Mall. Koopa Cave, one of my favorites. Maple Treeway, a beautiful track that just got remastered. DK Summit, to bring it up again. Warriors Gold Mine, some of these are incredible. But some are boring as fuck. Something like Daisy Circuit, it's not really interesting. It has some, like, you know, interesting lore with Luigi and Daisy and Baby Luigi and Baby Daisy dancing in the, you know, statues. That's nice. But I feel like with the Wii, this being a console game after Mario Kart DS, I think the fan service is lacking here. Like Luigi and Daisy dancing, that's fan service, but I mean in the environments. You add Rosalina, and thank you for adding Rosalina. But where's the Mario Kart based track on Mario Galaxy? Again, Mario Kart DS, the handheld game that did not have Sunshine, has Delfino Plaza and Airship Fortress from Mario 3. While the console game doesn't have something based on the recent mainline Mario game? Or even the older ones? Something Bob-omb Battlefield, again, bringing that up. I know this is a point that you made in the other videos too, but this is the console game, this is the Wii. I feel like they could have gone further. Like Mario Circuit could have had some planets, maybe a ramp leads you into another planet or something like that. I don't know, I feel like some environments are lacking here. Again, track design is perfect. Well, not perfect, but it's very good, it's very great. Has shortcuts as per usual. Environments are lacking, man. And that's not mentioning... I did mention the retro tracks, but when you add the retro tracks, this gets worse. Again, 4 tracks per console, or handheld, are back. Except for the SNES and GBA. Those only have 2 each. Probably because they're very similar. Again, Super Circuit had Super Mario Kart in its entirety, and it felt like Super Circuit tracks, so they're fairly similar. I think the choice was... I think it was a solid choice to only have 2 of each. You know, they're very similar in layout anyway. But let's talk about what was brought back, shall we? Nintendo 64 tracks, for example, it has Mario Raceway. I love that track, both in the Nintendo 64 and every future iteration it has. I really like it. But you also bring Mario Circuit back. And again, dude, too many I get it's Mario Kart, but you already have 3 Mario Circuit, not to counting the SNES Mario Circuits and GBA. These environments get very samey. The track design is different, which is the most important thing, obviously. But what you're looking at also matters, I feel. What you're looking at matters a lot too, especially for a casual mindset. That's why I'm so shocked. A casual mindset doesn't have these incredible looking tracks. It does have them, we saw them. But some tracks just don't. It's a very jarring difference. Then when you go into the DS tracks, you have Yoshi Falls, which even on the Nintendo DS was pathetically short. And that issue gets even bigger with a console game. I'm not saying you should expand the track or anything, But you run into this problem of the retro cups being shorter than the main cups, because you have stuff for the handhelds and the Super Nintendo, which are shorter tracks. How Super Mario Kart did it was it had 5 laps because they knew how short the tracks would be. Here they are all standardized to 3 tracks. So 3 laps, sorry. So each track will have shorter time span, you know? It'll be blazing through. It's a bit weird overall when you compare, you go from a Nintendo 64 track to a DS track to a GBA track. It feels like the time goes faster and faster, which, again, I'm not saying they should expand the track or anything, but it's a jarring difference again. However, they did add the gimmicks for this game, you know, they added some ramps and such that you can do stunts over them, and the hazards are different enough from the original design. So that's refreshing to see if you knew the track from the original game. But outside of that, if you're going blind, it's a bit disappointing. Personally, through this retrospective, I value the retro tracks more design-wise, because, you know, the ramps and such. But environment-wise, I'm a bit disappointed, especially after going through DS. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna have to be that guy. Why didn't you bring Waluigi's Pinball back from DS? Why did you bring Yoshi Falls? Like, not to say I hate Yoshi Falls or anything, but it's so short, dude. It's like a minute. It's literally like a minute. Waluigi's Pinball is far longer than that. And if you wanted a Yoshi track, bring back Yoshi's Valley instead of Mario Raceway. You bring Mario Circuit for GameCube, you remove Mario Raceway, and you bring Yoshi's Valley from Nintendo 64. You get that representation for both Yoshi and the Nintendo 64 there. The tracks are great, again, tracks are great, shortcuts, item spawning, everything's so cool, and it's fairly different outside of Super Nintendo and GBA, but that's a problem that will always be there, due to the nature of the tracks. But the tracks' visuals blend together sometimes, and sometimes it can be very boring. This is worse because I know the potential this has, both looking into the future and into the DS. It's a bit disappointing that the console game does not match some visuals from the handheld game, some environments from the handheld game. Again, sometimes it does it. I think Coconut Mall is amazing, but Waluigi's Pinball is so lopped, dude. And I think it trumps over every retro track they brought back for this. Again, this sounds nitpicky, and honestly it is. It won't ruin your experience or anything, but I wanted to bring it up. And staying on the visual train, so this game on the Wii, like natural, like Wii hardware, you might remember this for something like Brawl as well. It has a lot of bloom. It's very bloomy, like these characters feel, they look washed out sometimes. In the footage you've seen, and you will continue to see, this bloom is gone, because it's on Dolphin. Which, honestly, removing the bloom makes the game look significantly better, if you ask me. But when you remove this bloom, you see that the difference visually with the GameCube, it's not that big. Obviously it looks better than the GameCube, but since the Wii was basically 2 GameCubes duct taped together, graphics-wise you can't do much. That's why Brawl went for this realistic art style, let's say, compared to Melee, to showcase the graphical fidelity increase. Mario Kart Wii, obviously you can't go for realism. I don't think that would be cool. Please never do that, but that's when you get into this issue of, this game looks good, I think it looks very good, but it looks like Double Dash 2.0, if you know what I mean. It's a bit underwhelming for the Wii, when you have something like Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2, and Donkey Kong Country Returns, and Metroid Prime 3, you have all these beauty, even Sonic Colors. Like, I say even because going back to the resolution of that game is a bit wonky, because that game also has a lot of bloom. But when you remove the bloom, that game's beautiful, as seen in Sonic Colors Ultimate. All those games are beautiful looking. Mario Kart Wii looks fine. I think it does the job, but I think it could do better. Maybe they didn't want to go too overboard for performance, but I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure, but again, it looks fine, but if you look at Double Dash and then at this, it's like, yeah, I see the upgrade, but it's kind of like an expansion more so than a graphical upgrade, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, the 12-player thing I mentioned, yeah, this is new for this game. So maybe that's why the graphics weren't as intensive, maybe performance, but yeah, you race against 12 players. Like, I mentioned it before, but I said it so casually that I was like, wait, hold on. This is a first. Yeah, so Mario Kart Wii set the standard for 12 racers. Mario Kart 8, you should thank Mario Kart Wii. Oh! Boy, items were here, huh? Boy. Okay, let's go through the list again for the items that came back. So we got mushrooms, triple mushrooms are back. Then golden mushrooms, that's your boost. Then you got bananas and a pack of bananas that again don't do a bowling sound like in 64, sadly. I think that ring's gone. Please mod that in, someone. I love the bowling sound effect, so cool. Shells, both of the green and red variety, and both in their triple variety for a special discount. They're all back. Naturally, you get a star. The bullet bill goes from DS to Wii, and I gotta say, I think it's a bit less reliable here. Not in terms of how far it gets you, I think it gets you further than in DS. On that end, it's upgraded. But while it remains one of the best items in the game, one of the ones that will carry you, through my races in this game, I noticed that it dropped me at the most inconvenient of places compared to DS. In DS, sometimes it felt like the Uber just ditched you somewhere. Here, it feels like the Uber didn't even try to get to your house, you know what I mean? Like, it just ditches you into a wall. Not often, but it happened more than in DS, so I'm like, maybe you could have left me in a bit of a better spot, man. But you're still one of the best items in the game because you're so useful. Obviously, lighting, bomb, and the fake item box comes back for a console game. It wasn't DS, but it was not in Double Dash. The blooper comes back from DS. There is a lot of DS items that carry into this, and so on. I feel like through DS is where we get the more homogenized item pool. So blooper is here, and again, the larger screen makes this one a bit more useless compared to DS. On DS's tiny screen, everything was filled, so sometimes you run into a few issues. You could look at the map if you knew what you were doing, but here with a bigger screen it feels like there are less ink spots to bother you. So it seems a bit nerfed on that aspect. From the... oh god. From the returning items, oh god. The last one, oh god. Blue shell. Oh boy. Yeah, so... so you know that Mario Kart 8 update that dropped that you can only play as blue shells? You know who the prototype for that was? Mario Kart Wii, baby. You could get minimum, and I do mean minimum, 5 blue shells per track. The blue shell here is insane. The item spawning for the blue shell is absolutely chaotic. This happens mainly in 100cc. Maybe in 150cc you finish too quickly, or in 50cc you are all so packed together that a blue shell doesn't really spawn. But in 100cc I felt far more started to show up. So many more started to show up. And some of that madness was in Double Dash through the double character item pool. But man, even through this retrospective, I don't have the footage sadly, but let me tell you, a lot of blue shells can spawn in one race. It's insane. It's insane, dude. And you can dodge it with a well-timed mushroom, but if you're in first, you probably don't have a mushroom, let's be honest. Sometimes you can, sometimes you don't. But yeah, it's insane. It's crazy, dude. Good to be back. Now for the new items. So I like 2 of them, but they're not really necessary additions, if you know what I mean. The first one is the big mushroom, the big one, the new Super Mario Bros. One. It's really fun. It's really good, and the music is so it pumps you up. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking shoot up, and it runs out. I think it lasts like 5 seconds. It's like a star, but it lasts less, and you can still get hit by the lightning. It shrinks you to normal size, which is actually very reasonable. But it's like a nerfed star. Then the POW block, which I'm surprised this wasn't an item before, given how prominent the POW blocks are in the Mario series. But this one hits everyone in front of you, kind of like the blooper does. They tumble after like 3 hits, like pow, 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 and then they start spinning around. The thing is, you can avoid that third pow hit, the impactful one, if you shake or press up on the D-pad at the right time, so that will make this item kinda worthless if you know that. You'll notice you did it when you get like circles spinning around you instead of the ground pound stuff, spikes. Also you spin far less than if you actually got hit, so there's that. This feels like a nerfed lightning. The lightning lasts longer, it impacts everyone, and you cannot dodge it unless you have a star or a bullet bill. Or the big mushroom, I guess. But this one only hits ahead, you can avoid it. So again, a nerfed lightning. What the fuck? The two of the new items are just nerfed versions of something that already exists. It's kind of puzzling. And then the last one, the cloud, which you might already know this item. You might know this item sucks. Sure, you get to be faster, and it can clutch some moments out, you know, you get a cloud and you can actually go faster and you pass someone, that's great, but 9 out of 10 times this item sucks. It shrinks you. It hurts you. It betrays all concept you have of Mario Kart. You need to bump into someone to get rid of it. So it even feels like an even more nerfed lightning, because it hits you, except lightning hits everyone but you. This one hits you! What the fuck? Like, it's fun to play hot potato with it, but if you don't have anyone near you, you're fucked. What the hell? Items are supposed to help you. So overall, items are very powerful. Like, I know I mentioned the blue shell, but all items have impact in the meta, if you want to call it that. Again, appealing more to the wacky nonsense, and that's why the stats for character scars, manual, automatic, and all that, I don't think they matter as much. Sure, you can, like, if you're a tryhard, you can see it, and it will help in some form or fashion, but it won't stop you from getting hit with 3 blue shells, you know what I mean? This is where you get into a more item meta Mario Kart than the previous games. Maybe you can say DS started that or Double Dash, given how many items could be on screen. But I think Wii is like... It was like implied in Double Dash, implied in DS. I think here's like, welcome to the item casual meta, bitch. Like in 64, if you were bleeding last, items could help you. But in Double Dash, DS, and especially Wii with a bullet bill, if you're bleeding last, you will get carried to the mid pack. Or even ahead of the pack, you can get to 5th or 4th. So, again, casual mindset. I don't think it's bad, but there is a huge difference between Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart Wii, you know what I mean? So then, controls. Like I mentioned before, both outside of automatic and manual, how you can actually control this game is actually huge. There are so many options. I mentioned it before, but Wii mode. Wii mode with an nunchuck. Classic Wii mode, which is the D-pad thingy with the weird analog sticks. Wii Pro controller. GameCube controller, which is huge, dude. It's one of the games that allows you to use the GameCube controller, thank you, because it feels so comfortable. So, most of this footage you've seen was with the GameCube controller, but I also went ahead and revived my childhood memories using the Wii mode. Because this is how I usually played with my friends. We all had Wii modes, so we all brought it to each other's houses and we played Mario Kart Wii and we made tournaments and whatever. The other game that I can think that had this many options was Brawl, and I really appreciate when Wii games did this, as long as it controlled well and it made sense. Sometimes Sonic Color, sometimes the GameCube controller felt a bit weird, but it usually felt fine, but here I appreciate that it feels very good. So let's get a bit more specific. Let's talk about the Wii mode first. Wii mode, since this is probably the way you'll be playing this game, it feels very good. You know, motion controls, especially on the Wii, they're usually very hit and miss. But here, tilting the Wii mode, you know, turn around, it can be a bit imprecise sometimes, I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes you might turn not well enough in manual mode specifically, that you are trying to turn and you're trying to get the drift going, and sometimes it might be a bit jank. But 9 out of 10 times, it feels pretty good, both automatic and manual. I do recommend, however, if you're using a Wiimote, I think automatic's the better choice. Not to say manual doesn't work, but I think it's easier to just worry about turning than drifting and turning, you know what I mean? I think turning on automatic is better with the Wiimote. I think it's, at least personally, I found it more comfortable. With the Wiimote, you can actually use the D-pad, you know, to shoot items. You press up on the D-pad when you're holding it horizontally and it'll shoot up. If you press down, it'll shoot back. I think that's very quick and a nice way of doing it. You don't even need to hold the item back on your back, you can just toss it. You can also throw them with B if you're playing automatic. In manual mode, B does the hop and the start of the drift. So, you know, B for automatic, but if you're like, oh, okay, I can hold B in automatic to hold the item on my back, you know, a banana to protect myself. How do I do that in manual? You hold the D-pad on the sides, you know, left and right. If up shoots up, obviously, and down shoots backwards, this left and right hold it on your back. It's a bit uncomfortable if you don't have... It can be uncomfortable in a few hands. I personally found it a bit awkward from time to time. But, yeah, overall I think it's good. It's obviously, Mario Kart Wii, obviously, the main focus was this. So it's very well designed. I appreciate they put so much time into it and so many different ways of playing with just the Wiimote. I will admit, my right hand did hurt from holding the 2 button to accelerate all the time. So that's when the Wii Wheel comes in. The Wii Wheel is very comfortable, actually. Sadly, I don't have it with me, that's why I didn't show it on the video, like on the live action segment. But, yeah, it feels very comfortable. Like, the Wii Wheel feels very comfortable. The only other control I have for this is the GameCube controller, but I do remember as a kid playing it on the Wii controller, Pro controller, whatever the name is. That one was comfortable, I remember it feeling very good, but now that I'm here with a GameCube controller, if you get the chance, play with a GameCube controller, not because, again, motion controls, they work in this game, but the GameCube controller is so comfortable, dude. I love this controller, it's so good. But yeah, it controls, I honestly, I would say perfectly. I couldn't cry foul at anything like, oh, I turned there, I was drifting, what the fuck? No. No more foul cries here. I think we reached that bit of the Mario Kart franchise when I can say the games are smooth as butter. I think we reached that moment in that I say the control is perfect. I haven't played 7 yet, but I think here we can say, yeah, controls are perfect, they're buttery smooth. You won't feel jank at all, especially if you're used to 8. This is like a centralized modern Mario Kart controls. Oh boy, now we get into the big boy. And it wasn't even the blue shells, or the bikes, or the speed. It's the Unlockables. Like I mentioned, I used a 100% file for this. The file you see with less tracks, like when playing with Cuber, that's because Dolphin Netplay just assumes you don't have a file. But in multiplayer you can't unlock anything, so sadly we didn't get to play in the other cups. The future cups I did play them on my own, but I couldn't do it with him. So, oh boy. So there's not only mirror mode to unlock, you also have to unlock characters, as per usual, and you also have to unlock vehicles, like in Double Dash and DS. So you have 12 characters to unlock. You have half the roster to unlock. Half the roster is unlockable. And you might be thinking, okay, I'll just play through Grand Prix, and they'll unlock eventually. And this is where the game tricks you. Some of the characters are unlocked through this. Some of the cars are unlocked through this. But some of the characters and some of the tracks, sorry, not the tracks, the cars. My brain's going insane just thinking about it. You know how I always said time trials is there, and it's just there, you know, you can have fun with it. They made time trials involved in the unlocking process. You have to play time trials, you have to get a better time than the developer times to get characters and cars. You actually have to play the time trials, which in a way I appreciate it because they are giving a purpose to time trials. I appreciate that. But on the other hand, I can't even talk, dude. On the other hand, fuck you. I feel like they should have what they should have done, because it kind of works like in Melee or Brawl, that you can do like the 100cc, or it says you can play 2000 races to unlock Daisy, and it's like, dude, how am I going to play 2000 races? Are you insane? That's insane, that's an insane number. I feel like if they brought it down, you can unlock things through multiplayer. Since Mario Kart, you play a lot of multiplayer. Time trials, it feels like, oh, go away, Tom. I wanna play on my own so I can unlock characters. You can come back when I unlock everything. See ya, Tom. Bye bye. No, I feel like they should have had a way to unlock things through multiplayer. You know, unlock stuff with your friends. I think that would have been really fun. I don't mind time trials being there, but some of these developer times, dude, they're hard. Some of them are tough. But yeah, the good thing is you can choose which ones to do. It's not like, oh, beat Sherbetland. But Sherbetland was rough, dude. I remember as a kid, this was pain. So I feel like this is too grindy. Like, oh, go through 50, 100, 150cc and mirror mode, and then do 16 time trials to unlock Birdo with the dolphin bike. And it's like, come on, man. I don't. Can we not? Can we unlock this through racing with friends, having fun? I appreciate how much there is to do. It adds a lot to replayability, kind of like Smash. But I think there were better ways to do it. So this is where I talk about the music, and
Oh, I didn't actually have anything to...
Waluigi! Oh shit, Blooper's actually good, I forgot. Fuck you, Waluigi!
Thank you.
The music is fantastic, dude. There's a reason why so much of this music is so iconic. Like, come on, dude. Coconut Mall, it's an obvious one. Sure, Double Dash started some of the music with DK Mountain, but this game's soundtrack, oh my sweet lord, dude. The tracks still the music tracks sometimes repeat in some tracks, still. I think Mario Kart 8 is the only game that has a music track per track. But, the music is so good here. Something I... Toad's Highway... Moonview Highway, sorry. Bowser's Castle. Rainbow Road! This Rainbow Road music, it's not my favorite, that still goes to 64. But this one's very energetic, representative of Rainbow Road in this game, which is tough as fuck, dude. But then you have so much high-spirited, high-energy music, and it's honestly pretty charming to see. It's lovely to have music like this in a Mario Kart game. Obviously, every Mario Kart has that. But this music feels like you can tap your feet while you're racing and getting blue shell for the 7th time. It feels really fun. But if I have to be real, as much as I love Coconut Mall or DK Summit soundtrack, my favorite track in the entire game, and one of my favorite tracks in the entire franchise, is actually the character select screen.
Oh yeah, Luigi!
Yeah, I'm not kidding. The transition you do from, like, when you select any player mode, like you're selecting between Grand Prix and Versus and Battle mode and such, that little bit of music, and then you transition into the character select screen. I love that transition. It's like so calming, and then dun 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 dun. I love the entire track, from whenever you're about to pick a mode, and when you jump into the characters, and then the transition into picking the track, it gets even more energetic. It's like, okay, what mode are you picking? Okay, you got the mode. Now what character are you picking? Okay, you got the character. Now what tracks are we picking, boy? And then it's like, it's escalating in intensity every time, and it's so good. I love it so much. And my favorite bit of the track is the character select screen portion. But I love the track as a whole. I love that intensity. It's so smooth, so lovely, so good. But yeah, as I mentioned, different modes. I talked about Grand Prix and Time Trials, that's single player. And back from DS, you can versus mode and battle mode on your own if you don't have any friends. But if you're on multiplayer, obviously you have versus and battle mode. The funny thing is here, versus and battle mode... let's start with versus. Versus has the typical versus we've seen in the other Mario Kart games, you know. Each pick a character, you race for a certain amount, whoever gets the most points wins. Versus mode allows you to, first off, change the settings. So you can choose between 50, 100, 150 mirror mode. You can choose the difficulty of the AI. You can choose to eliminate the AI entirely. You can choose to not have items at all, choose to have tame items, you know, make it maybe a bit more skill-based, but not as skill-based as no items at all, or you can make it wacky. Again, Mario Kart 8, appreciate this game's contributions to the item meta, thank you. And then you can choose how many laps you want to play. You can do basic ass 2 to like 32, it's sick, it's awesome. And then, in versus mode itself, you can pick whether you want to just free-for-all it, whoever wins, wins, or you can do it team-based, which is honestly pretty interesting. I personally don't really like this. I like that it's here, but I don't play it because it's like, I'm more of a solo guy. So, the idea is you race according to your team. It's like, let's say you're red and blue team, right? You as red team, you're in first place, you get a 15 points. But if the rest of your team chalked balls, all the points sum into a pool, and it's like, okay, in average, you're losing because your team's chalked balls, and that's why I don't like this mode. I don't trust my teammates, I'm sorry, I don't trust them. And apparently neither do my friends, because we never played team mode, even though it would be very helpful to balance stuff out. We never did that. So, yeah, it's a good idea, I think it's very useful, and I appreciate this feature. But I personally don't really care about it because I'm a selfish prick. So the reason why, that reason of not appreciating team mode, that's why I don't dig battle mode. Like, I love the tracks in battle mode, I obviously love battle mode, it's really fun. But sadly, battle mode is only team-based. And it's funny that you actually have the cars or bikes. Like, you have standard car and standard bike, I think that's pretty cool, but you only have team-based mode, which it's kinda cringe. And what's even cringier, it's on a time limit instead of balloon limit. Like, if you lose all your balloons, you just respawn again. And that sucks. I don't like it. I want my mano y mano 1v1 balloon life-based system with no microphone, thank you. I don't like this team-based timed meta thingy, which I understand that's probably how it worked online. Obviously you can have 2 people just sitting there with their 3 balloons and no timer, I get that. It probably made the matches go more fluidly, I get that. But I think the option, like in versus mode, would have been a good idea. I think if you can implement that option in versus mode, you should be able to do it in battle mode. I think that will have helped battle mode. The tracks are amazing, and they also have retro tracks here. I love that, but that sucks, sadly. I love battle mode, and I like the tracks here, but the team-based mode, I don't like it at all. So, I understand I didn't do this section for the other Mario Karts, and it's not because the scenes aren't developed or anything, but Mario Kart Wii has probably the most developed Mario Kart modding scene out there. I already mentioned Reconnect 24, you know, being able to play online again, but there is one mod in particular I want to highlight, which is one I've been playing on my own for a very long time. Mario Kart Wii Deluxe. And it's kind of funny that this mod is actually released like the Pokemon games. You got version red, green, and blue. It's kind of funny on that end, but what I love so much about this, like these three versions, each one modifies something different. I think red's like the most basic one because it only modifies the tracks. All three have the same amount of tracks, which is I think there's easily more than 100 tracks here, dude. There's so many cups, each cup has its own 4 tracks. And it ranges from original fan concepts to bringing tracks from the previous games, to bringing tracks from other games like Diddy Kong Racing, to making their own concepts. I'm racing on a Scott the Woz based track. What the fuck is this? I love this. I'm racing a Wii Shop Channel track and it has a Scott the Woz reference. I love this shit. So I love them. I love this mod in particular, and each version changes something. Like, I think red version, I think it only has the tracks, but a green version changes the suits for the characters. You got like Tanuki Mario and such. But blue version changes the characters. Like you have Sonic, Crash, Eggman. It's honestly really, really funny. I love that. I love that so much. It's a really great, fantastic time. I think this is also online if everyone has the mod, so do please give it a try if you can. It's on the Wii hardware too, but I recommend Dolphin because, you know, mods on Dolphin I think are easier to do personally. So, after however long that journey was, you might notice I'm still dressed for the occasion. It deserved it. Yeah, I still love this game. This game might have some item shenanigans bullshit, but I think that's what every Mario spin-off from this era and beyond had. Sorry, I'm just gushing at the instruction manual. It's a beefy boy too. It's a big boy. I remember reading that this as a kid when we got the game, like on my original copy, which I lost to time sadly, so that's why I got the 2018 copy. But this game, sure, it doesn't look as revolutionary as something like Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 on the Wii. The bloom does hurt if you're playing on an original Wii, but nowadays you're probably using Dolphin, so as you saw in the footage, that bloom is completely gone. And the game actually looks pretty good, just not as revolutionary, it's not as different from Double Dash. It looks better, but not... Whoa, what is this? A visual masterpiece on the Nintendo Wii? Yeah, the item balancing can be a bit blue shell. But the game's great. There's always this debate whether this or Mario Kart 8 are the better ones, and Double Dash 2. I think this is my favorite Mario Kart. Like, I love 8 solely on the content it has, especially nowadays, that Wave... At this point of this recording, Wave 3 just released. And Double Dash is great because of the partnering mechanics, pretty cool. But I think I still take Wii over all of that. I think Wii is great. It's fantastic. If you have friends and you happen to have the chance to play this, play Wii. It's very chaotic fun. Like every Mario Kart is very chaotic fun. Every Mario spin-off is chaotic fun. It's obviously not just skill. It has the items and the randomization. You know, it's easy to get into, hard to master, blah 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 blah. Play Wii. Like, this is the one Mario Kart I'll tell you. Like, and on all the other ones I tell you, oh, you should play this if you're curious, and you should give this a go because it's a great time. This is a command. I order you to go play Mario Kart Wii. No, but please, if you get the chance, please do. I think it's great. Like, it's just fantastic, and it's very accessible because, again, like I mentioned, all the methods you have of playing. I assume someone has to have a Wii mode. You probably have GameCube controllers now that they get more released than Wii modes. Please do. Like, yeah, battle mode might be a bit iffy with the teams, and The retro tracks might not look as revolutionary as they do now in Mario Kart 8, but it still has a lot of fun. And the modding scene, if you can play this on Dolphin, or mod your Wii if you are into that sort of thing. I personally don't have the guts to do it, and kind of no reason to do it because I have Dolphin, but the modding scene is insane, dude. If you can play, again, play original Wii and then get into the modding scene, holy shit. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. Very happy to have finally talked about Mario Kart Wii, and I believe if all goes according to plan, this is being released before the end of the year. Like literally the day the year ends. So hope you had a Merry Christmas, Merry Doorbell. I hope you have a Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Merry... I don't know the other festivities. I'm really sorry. I'm very ignorant on that aspect. I'm very, very sorry. But I hope you had a merry celebration with your family, whatever you celebrate in your household. I'm really sorry. I'm very ignorant on that end. But I hope you have a great end of the year. I hope you had a great end of the year. And you survived another year. That's always important. Especially after the beginning of the decade. But bye-bye. I'll see you for Mario Kart 7 eventually. And in the meantime, of course, streams, videos, whatever. Bye-bye. I'll record you making your life. Please do make your life. You!
Let's pick that one.
You! That me? You sure? You!
I just picked one.
You!
It's not that serious.
No, it's very serious. Yes!
Yes!
Hit it! Sick, dude. Yeah, I'm good. Oh, that nice banana. You bitch!
Yep.
That's how you start, huh? Nice, bro. You pieces of shit. They hit me again. Take these nuts, bitch! Oh, no item box? That's kinda cringe. That's very cringe. Oh, I thought you hit by the car!
Go!
I thought you got hit by the car. Bitch! No, I'm the bitch!
Outplayed. Skill issue.
Skill these nuts, bitch!
Oh, well, until there.
I also hit a box. I got the mushroom! No, I missed the mushroom! Ah!
Well played.
Thank you.
Played.
Thank you. No! Why? Why am I like this?
Good question.
You wouldn't. Bitch!
Nah. Well played.
Thank you. I mashed L. No! You're getting hit with me! No! You dodged?
Yep, because I got just ahead of you.
Oh, that was the delay.
I am honestly amazed that Mario, you bitch. Mario, you bitch.
No, no, no. I'm blaming delay. I'm getting stomped. I got stomped. L!
Oh, you schmuck. You motherfucker.
Disrespect. Absolute disrespect.
Well, there you go. You got a good clip for your video.
Thank you, thank you.